Yes, people, peace, love and prosperity. It's Breakbeat. If you're new to the channel and you never heard of me, I'm a drummer, producer, artist, innovator. So I'm just here to quickly put down some of my thoughts. I'm trying to make this a regular thing where I just not only create more content, but I kind of leave a trail of my thoughts, feelings, ideologies, and just as a way of like self-expression, so that people can get more insight into what makes me tick as a person, as a creative, as a drummer, as a musician. So today, what I wanted to speak about is what I feel are like the different types of drummers, because like drumming is an art form, and within that art form I've almost come to realize that there's different kind of subsections of like drummers and different types. And so I kind of thought it would be a good kind of idea to speak on my thoughts about, you know, what I feel the makeup of the attributes of those drummers are. So for me, I like obviously it's 2024, drumming has evolved, and there's lots of different terminologies and genres, and with the expansion of social media such as like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, there's even now things I'm hearing like an Instagram drummer. Do you get what I mean? So I'm going to try and explain it to my understanding and how I kind of visualize and interpret. So obviously, you know, you've got like your jazz drummers, your fusion drummers, and these are the type of drummers who I feel are like, they're like avant-garde. So they obviously play within those genres of like jazz, fusion, whatnot, and that's kind of like that free-flowing music. And then you kind of have the type of drummers that like do their own project within that type of jazz fusion sound, where it's like loads of scales and runs and all of that type of stuff. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And it's just, that's a whole subsection and genre. And there's a lot of drummers that I do feel are like really good in that space. Do you get what I mean? And it's kind of like you get to flex your chops a bit more. It's odd time signatures. It's you know, it's an expressive type of genre. And then, you know, you get a lot of clinic drummers that are able to kind of spawn off of that, or kind of integrate that with their type of regime. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of play the drums as its own entity and full instrument. And then obviously you've got like your rock drummers, you know, like your band, like your rock band drummers, who kind of, you know, they play in your band, like, you know, like for an example, like a Red Hot Chili Peppers, or like what's that band called? Can't even remember their name. It slipped off my head now. But the whole premise of like the rock drummer is that they kind of like, they sit within that genre and they play those songs. Do you get what I mean? And it sounds good. It's very groove based. It's very kind of like a hard hitting style. And then I'm gonna kind of like try and generalize, so I'm not gonna go into like every single thing, but then the other main ones which I feel are like set drummers, and I feel like I kind of sit in that space, which is, you know, you have your sets which are genre based. Maybe it might be hip hop, it might be pop, it could be R&B, but it's based around like a set of songs put together for a set, which has like an intro, outro, hits, transitions, and yeah, so it's kind of like very muscle memory, very your memory's gonna have to be good, and you kind of have to really like know the songs inside out. And I feel that the reason why that's become my style was because as I moved into production, I really became in love with the process of creating songs. So where some drummers, I feel they're really dedicated to the art of playing the drums in a drum sense, so like rudiments, odd time signatures. It might not necessarily be their love of like songs. They love the instrument and rhythms and arpeggios and those type of things, whereas I fell in love with like actual songs, song structures, and the role of drums within a song, and having a space to kind of express myself through the song, if that makes sense. So the reason that I wanted to speak about it is because one thing I've noticed over the years, like I got into drumming around like the year 2000. We're in 2024, so that's like 24 years. The drumming art form has been going for even longer. And even in that time period that I've been active, I've just seen a transformation. So, you know, there's a lot of drummers now who, especially in this social media age, where everyone's almost playing these chops. Like I know that there's this style that everyone kind of speaks on, which is like gospel chops and this and that, which is, I feel like everyone's trying to play to be noticed. So it's almost like drumming diarrhea, where people who they'll get on the kit, and it's almost like, let me just play everything and anything I can play to kind of get attention and to show that I can play these chops, when it's like, ideally, I feel the art form is best expressed when you know how to kind of move through the gears. Similar to driving, you know, like where you'd have your first gear that is used to really move the car, then you kind of, once you get that motion, you push into second gear, and that's just to get the momentum a bit more, and then you move into gear 3. Do you get what I mean? As you pick up more speed, you're into gear 4. you know? And then, you know, obviously you've got your reverse, and, you know, you would apply each gear for each specific situation. And I feel like nowadays you've got drummers that will jump on the kit and they straight away into sport mode. And do you know what it is? I'm not knocking or saying anything about anyone, because at the end of the day, if that's how you feel you want to express yourself, that's totally up to you. But I'm talking more from an aspect of like respecting the art form and truly understanding what it is. You know, it's a very, very special art form, and I feel that, you know, if you take the time to kind of develop all of these type of understandings, then that's how you create your own voice. And yeah, so, you know, like, there's fusion drummers, there's rock band drummers, there's set drummers, there's clinic drummers, and sometimes you have set drummers who go and do clinics, and they try and do what the clinic drummers do, but it's almost like they sound funny because they sit really well within the set space. But they, instead of doing like a set, they'll go to a clinic and try and do the fusion-y clinic stuff, and then they don't sound good because they're out of their niche. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that there aren't drummers that can do, you know, all types of different things, but I think we all have to like recognize our strengths and weaknesses. And obviously, of course, we're all growing, developing, and you want to kind of work on your weaknesses, but at the same time being smart and knowing where your strengths are. And for me, I think I understood where my strengths were, because even though I came up listening to a lot of fusion and odd time signatures, and I went to loads of drum clinics, like there's so many drum clinics I've seen in person, you know, from Akira Jimbo to Dave Weckl at Ronnie Scott's to Dennis Chambers at Royal Festival Hall to Steve Smith to, you know, like there's so many clinics. And, you know, then I've been to see drummers live on arena tours, and I feel like because I moved into the production side of things, like I said, I really fell in love with songs. So I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and I know that because I enjoy and I genuinely love the creation of songs and drums and rhythms within songs, then I feel that that's where my expertise and expression and flair has really come into fruition and really like shined bright, because that's where my love is. Do you know what I mean? And when I first started drumming, I found it cool to kind of like, you know, do the jam sessions and do the odd time signatures, and I was one of the first to be at places like Troy Bar, which is a legendary jam session, you know. But I feel like that was kind of just me just mingling and doing what everyone else was doing, because when you come into the game and you first start getting into music, you kind of like, you follow everyone else, innit? Like, oh, this is where all the musicians are going, this is where everyone hangs out, everyone's going to this jam session, and the industry and everyone teaches you to kind of network with everyone and do what everyone else is doing. But then obviously I started to create my own path, and then that's when it was like, this is what I actually love, this is what I enjoy. So bringing this to a close, I guess what I really want to say is learn and experiment with everything, but really take the time out to sit down and think about what you want and what you enjoy, what you love, and put your time into that and work on really developing that. Instead of being a jack of all trades, master of none, really figure out what it is that you love and have some tunnel vision on that and lock it down and build upon that to be the kind of best that you can be in that, and that will help develop and create your own voice. I'm going to be releasing a course soon, so if you are interested, then drop some comments, and I'm going to start having a way so that people can register interest, so that when it does land, you'll be the first to know. But I'm going to go more in depth into these type of subjects because I feel like no one really does this. No one does it like how I do it, in a sense of going in depth into these type of topics. You know, everyone says, oh, watch this video and learn a paradiddle, but that's only an eighth of this. You know, I'm getting deep into the actual schematics, ergonomics, and the DNA of what this thing really entails. And this was like my 24 years of experience thus far, and I'm still learning. But at the same time, I want to pass the information back and give this knowledge and insight to the future generations. And the same way that when I was coming into the game and I kind of listened to old school Buddy Rich and his tapes and whatnot and insight, and in years to come, future generations will be listening to me and, you know, what made me tick. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now. So like, yeah man, I look forward to kind of catching up with you guys soon, and yeah man, be blessed. Peace. Yes people, obviously before I come to upload this video, I just remembered one category that I should have included, and that's studio drummers. So I also fall into this category because I've played on quite a few records that have done pretty well. So that is a different mentality as well, because you're going into the studio, and usually, well, in my case, I've been like presented with music, usually on the spot, because we're kind of like all creating there, and it will be my job to kind of create drum parts that help the building blocks towards the song. So there's that side of it, the creative side, and being able to kind of come up with parts. And then there's the side of obviously performing it, and then kind of like working with the click track, working with the engineer to kind of create the drum sound that's required for the record. You know, we may try different snares, we may try tuning on the toms, we may try tuning with the bass drum, all these different types of things. Mic positioning, all of this. So, you know, and then some people have this thing that's called red light fever, which is, you know, they're great until that red light comes on, says recording, and then they kind of fall apart. So, you know, it's crazy because that's something that I'm going to be addressing in my drum course. So if you guys are interested in signing up for that, the details are going to be in the caption. So make sure you kind of join the list so you can be notified of when the course goes live. But I'm going to be addressing these type of subjects and kind of identifying the key factors and how to kind of overcome them, because you don't want to be the person that's got red light fever in that scenario, because if you're aiming to be a studio drummer, then it's going to be hard to get the bookings if you fall apart at the point where you're kind of looked at as the person that holds everything together rhythm wise. Do you know what I mean? The drums, is like the pillars of the song. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, I just thought I'd cover that before I upload this YouTube video. And yeah, peace, love, prosperity, and yeah, let's keep it moving.